Thadou Defense Army, TDA, of Chin State, Myanmar, guardians of the hills and allies in the struggle for federal democracy. The Thadou Defense Army, TDA, has emerged as a vital ethnic armed group operating across the rugged terrains of northern Chin State, Myanmar. Composed primarily of fighters drawn from the resilient Thadou Kuki community, the TDA represents not merely an armed force, but the living embodiment of a people's aspiration for security, dignity, and self-determination. In the wake of Myanmar's 2021 military coup, as the country descended into chaos and brutality, the Thadou community, long marginalized and neglected, rose in organized resistance through the creation of the TDA. Their aims are twofold: to defend their ethnic homeland and to contribute to the broader struggle for a democratic and federal Myanmar. Unlike many ethnic militias that operate in isolation, the TDA stands apart due to its strategic alliances and integration into the broader framework of Myanmar's revolutionary forces. By aligning with the Kachin Independence Army, KIA, the Kuki National Army, KNA Burma, and the Chin National Army, CNA, as well as affiliating with the civilian-led National Unity Government, NUG, and its armed wing, the People's Defense Force, PDF, the TDA has demonstrated both political foresight and military pragmatism. Its journey reflects a profound commitment to both ethnic self-preservation and the national cause of freedom. Origins and ethnic identity. The Thadou people are a proud sub-tribe of the wider Kuki-Chin-Mizo ethno-linguistic family, indigenous to the hills straddling northern Chin State, southern Sagaing region, and the Indo-Myanmar borderlands. Historically, they have been custodians of vast stretches of mountainous landscapes, living in autonomous village republics under customary law. However, successive Burmese regimes, from colonial times to the present military dictatorships, have subjected them to chronic political marginalization, economic deprivation, and cultural erosion. The 2021 coup d'etat unleashed an unprecedented wave of violence, particularly against ethnic minorities. Thadou villages, nestled in remote and strategic hill tracts, quickly became targets of the junta's brutal counterinsurgency campaigns. With no protection from the collapsing state and no viable political avenue for redress, local youth, former police and military defectors, community leaders, and exiled students rallied to form the Thadou Defense Army. It was a necessary act of survival and resistance, born out of the ancestral duty to defend their land, their families, and their future. Organizational structure and operations. The TDA operates primarily as a localized guerrilla force, adapting its structure to the mountainous geography of Chin State. It maintains a decentralized command system, allowing regional units to operate independently, yet cohesively. Operating in key areas such as Phalam, Tonzang, Tamu, and Tadim townships, TDA fighters engage in asymmetric warfare, ambushes, sabotage operations, convoy disruptions, and defensive fortifications. Supported by the unwavering loyalty of local villages and tribal councils, the TDA has established civil administration structures in territories vacated by the junta. These include emergency medical units, informal educational initiatives, and basic governance mechanisms. This dual role, soldiers by necessity and nation builders by vision, underscores the TDA's holistic approach to liberation. TDA members undergo rigorous training regimes, encompassing not only tactical warfare but also political education. The ideological component stresses democratic values, human rights, and the principles of federalism, aiming to cultivate a force of disciplined revolutionaries rather than mere warriors. Integration under the NUG-PDF umbrella. One of the defining features of the TDA is its early and proactive alignment with the National Unity Government, NUG, and the People's Defense Force, PDF. The NUG, formed by elected lawmakers ousted in the coup, seeks to create a new Myanmar based on federal democracy and ethnic equality. By formally affiliating with the NUG-PDF structure, the TDA ensured that its struggle would not remain an isolated ethnic revolt, but would become part of a nationwide uprising against tyranny. Under the NUG's regional commands, TDA units receive strategic guidance, coordination assistance, and occasionally logistical support, despite the NUG's own limited resources. This cooperation has enabled TDA fighters to participate in joint operations alongside other ethnic groups, thus fostering inter-ethnic solidarity in a historically fragmented landscape. In certain townships, TDA units are integrated directly into local PDF battalions, participating in combined offensives and territorial defense efforts. alliance with the Kachin Independence Army, KIA. The partnership between the Thadou Defense Army and the Kachin Independence Army represents a powerful axis of resistance between the Kachin and Chin Hills. The KIA, revered for its battle-hardened history and strategic acumen, has become a crucial mentor to the TDA. In training camps located in Liza and other liberated zones of northern Shan State, TDA fighters receive instruction in guerrilla tactics, explosives handling, intelligence gathering, medical field care, and covert communications. Beyond training, the KIA provides the TDA access to an invaluable network of alliances with other ethnic armed organizations, weapons supply chains, and humanitarian corridors. In return, the TDA fortifies the western flank of the resistance, a strategic buffer zone against junta incursions into ethnic strongholds. This collaboration exemplifies the new model of ethnic unity Myanmar's revolutionary forces aspire toward, no longer confined by tribal boundaries, but linked by a shared commitment to justice and federalism. Coordination with the Kuki National Army, Burma. The TDA's alliance with the Kuki National Army, KNA Burma, is rooted not only in shared ethnicity, but also in a shared historical consciousness. The KNA, active since the 1980s, has long championed the rights and autonomy of the Kuki people in Myanmar. This deep historical and cultural kinship manifests in practical collaboration on the ground, intelligence sharing networks, joint outposts in Tonzang and Chika regions, and coordinated attacks on junta logistics. Importantly, the KNA lends the TDA crucial strategic mentorship and political advocacy. The two forces also coordinate their efforts toward the greater ethno-political vision of Zalengam, the dream of a unified Kuki-Chin-Mizo homeland stretching across the hills of India, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. In this vision, the preservation of identity is inseparable from the realization of democratic rights. Partnership with the Chin National Army, CNA. Historically, the relationship between the Thadou Defense Army and the Chin National Army was complicated by tribal distinctions and differing territorial priorities. However, the existential threat posed by the junta has driven a new era of cooperation. Today, the CNA and TDA conduct joint patrols, intelligence missions, and village defense programs across strategic townships such as Phalam, Hakka, and Tedim. Their coordination has produced synergistic effects, particularly in responding to junta aerial bombings, pooling scarce resources like food and medicine, and establishing interim governance structures in liberated areas. In some cases, TDA fighters undergo advanced training in CNA-led camps, while CNA units assist the TDA with recruitment drives and the procurement of arms and supplies. This growing partnership signals a broader realization across Chin State. The survival and success of ethnic resistance demand unity, maturity, and a conscious transcendence of historical divisions. Challenges on the battlefield and beyond. Despite its growing strength, the TDA faces formidable challenges. Its fighters often contend with severe shortages of modern weaponry, medical supplies, and logistical support. Unlike more internationally recognized groups such as the Arakan Army or Karen National Union, the TDA remains relatively obscure on the global stage, limiting its access to foreign humanitarian aid and political backing. Navigating the complex web of alliances with multiple actors, the NUG, KIA, KNA, CNA, also requires sophisticated diplomacy. Issues of resource sharing, territorial command, and political representation can strain relationships. Furthermore, TDA units must constantly evade or withstand brutal airstrikes, artillery bombardments, and strategic encirclements by junta forces. Yet through stealth operations, local intelligence networks, and the indomitable support of the civilian population, the TDA has not only survived, but expanded its influence. In many villages, TDA members are revered as protectors and community leaders, their sacrifices becoming a source of collective pride and resilience. Vision for the future. The Thadou Defense Army envisions a future in which Myanmar embraces a true federal system, where ethnic minorities are granted genuine autonomy, cultural rights, and equitable development opportunities. The TDA dreams of embedding the Thadou voice firmly within the political framework of Chin State and the nation as a whole. At the heart of its vision lies a simple but profound aspiration, that the hills and valleys, where generations of Thadou ancestors lived in freedom, shall never again be subjected to tyranny, neglect, or annihilation. The young fighters of the TDA, many of whom set aside careers as farmers, teachers, artisans, and students, carry the torch of this dream in their rifles and their hearts.
hi ka hi ole TDN nam spy ka TDN nam spy te ka hi ovin tuni ka hin sei nom thu chu hi le hasima hong gizo thopu thi thu hi in he chu thopu thi hi songkhara kor sum sang ni bo hi in a khenna kor sum lak zanga anina lak som nga athumna lak som thuma hi in adang ni ting su tam ta zom na lai ni hi he chu thopu thi zo na sum to chun nam spy te galvan man cha le ne la cha chona ki nei ding hi ji in muntina kanami pi te ho zo sin ne ki thu pu thina ding ovin thumna ka hi neuwe ka ki pau ve